We take our what you call the pineapple crown leaf from the morning market. So kalau nampak ni ada banyak lah, kita dapat dalam satu plastik, dua plastik over there. So boleh dapat lah dekat pineapple market. Ini kutipan kita pada hari ini ya. Kita dapat dua plastik penuh jambul jambul apa ni? Jambul Ananas okey. Kita ada dekat melawati pasar pagi Melawati, sebelah melawati mall ni. So pagi pasar ni buka from 5 AM to 11 lah. Once we bring our sample to the lab, the first thing we need to do is we need to cut the fruiting part just by using the knife. We put it aside and we only need this what we call the leafy part only. So this is pineapple crown leaf lah. So we here we already get like the full basin of this pineapple crown leaf, and we will dry this as a whole. We don't need to disintegrate the leaf one by one, because it's much easier for us to what we call to crush this when it's dry. We can crush this as it is as a whole. It's already 3 days since we collect our pineapple crown leaf, and you see here we remove the what we call the top part, because if we left it there, it will sort of like spoil. So this is the top part that we remove. So you can see full of fungus, the black fungus, white fungus, and so on. So this is not good lah for to make your sample. Okay, so this the condition still okay, meaning that if you waiting for the dryer, you basically can left this sample in the open air, provided that you cut this the fruiting part, because that is where there are a lot of water and nutrient. So we want only the cellulose part within this crown leaf. Now it's time for drying. So we have 2 basin full of sample, and we have this small dryer. We know that this dryer can only accommodate only 1 full basin of any sample. So we need to take turn, dry this first, let it drying for 1 day, and then after that put this in a container that is sealed from the air, and then dry this and so on. So let's try that. This is how we put our pineapple crown leaf inside our dryer. Okay, so we put the entire whole bunch of this crown leaf rather than we disintegrate into the individual leaf. Of course, if you what we call turn this into this and then organize it accordingly, you can maximize the storage area inside this dryer. The problem is when you try to crush this stuff, it will not crush efficiently if, let's say, the thing is in leafy form. So you need something bulky and hard. So when this dry, it becomes shrink and become hard, and it's like a bulky stuff. So you can chuck it into the what we call into crusher, and the blade have a much easier time to what we call to catch this bulky item and crush it accordingly. So that's the reason why we don't what we call disintegrate this into leaf, even though that will surely maximize the space utilization in this dryer. We done organizing our pineapple crown leaf inside this dryer. We start with these 2 full basin of sample, but as you can see, only 1 basin can fill up this dryer. We don't have enough space for another basin, so we need to wait this to dry before we can transfer this new one lah. Here for each layer we can put around 7 or 8 of this crown leaf. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. So 7 times 7 or 8, so you get around 50 to 60 crown leaf can maximize the storage in this dryer lah. So it's good to know. So next time when you repeat this thing, you know how much you can put inside this dryer for this pineapple crown leaf sample. So about 50 or 60 can fit it into this dryer. We let it dry in 1 day at 65 degrees Celsius. It's already 24 hours since we dry our pineapple crown leaf inside this dryer. So let's check it out. Okay, let's take it out and put it down here. You can see the color change into brownish color, and also you can see that the leaf there is easily snapped. Okay, it's easily snapped, which is good for crushing later on. However, we still cannot use this for crushing because as you can see, this part still have squishiness, meaning that there are some water trapped inside, and this is expected. You can see here there are what we call the greenish thing there. This is because the heat need some time to reach the middle part here. We can conclude that for pineapple crown leaf, you need more time for it to fully dry, and probably we left it for another days and check later on whether it's dry enough or not. Okay, it's already 2 days since we put our sample here, so now let's check the dryness of the sample. So it's look dry, but then still we can feel some squishiness here, and if you look in the middle there, it's like that, still the same. So we can conclude that regardless 1 day or 2nd day, it's still the same. I think we can just chuck it into the what I call crusher and see what happened. Okay. Okay, for pineapple crown leaf, we cannot just put the fresh one inside the crusher like that. We need to dry it anyway, because we tried it before using 2 of these crown leaf. We put inside this crusher, and what happened is that it don't really crush the stuff lah, and also it's wet. It's not good lah. This crusher is meant for just for dry thing. So if you open this thing, so you can see, so it's not really working well lah. You can see this is not the way how you should use the dryer. Yeah, because you can see there what will happen there. So this is the reason why you don't use the wet stuff inside this dryer lah. Okay, it have, because you need to at least make it this pineapple crown leaf to be drier lah before you can chuck into this crusher. As you can see here, this crusher is not meant for wet stuff, so you need to actually dry it thoroughly before you can chuck in the what I call the stuff inside this crusher, or else you need to have hard time to clean all this wet stuff here. Okay, this thing is not really wet, but then the inside there they are still wet. We have seen before that we cannot crush this fresh pineapple crown leaf using this crusher due to this wet part here. So now we have this what we call the pineapple crown leaf that has been dried for 2 days at 65 degree. Even though here you can see there are some squishiness as we discussed before, but hopefully this can be crushed more easily, far easily compared to this. So we have a basin here, and it's good for you to what we call to wear the glove here, because the dried pineapple leaf is quite sharp on the edge, so it can protect your hand. So let's crush it. Okay, let's see the flow rate of what's coming out from the screen. So you can see there are something coming out from the screen, meaning that this sample crushed better compared to this fresh sample. Okay, but the flow rate is too slow lah. This is not what we want, because it's too slow. And also let me open my glove now in order to feel the sample. Okay, the sample looks green, okay, and also it felt quite wet lah. It's like there are moisture there, which is not good. That's why the crushing cannot be done very effectively. Even though you can see here is quite dry outside, but remember there are still some moisture within it. Okay, let's now see what happened here by first close everything before we open this what we call this knob. Okay, so we close, and then make sure you close everything before you do this opening thing. Okay, close the main power switch, and then now we can open this thing. and see what actually happened at the blade. Okay, so you can see now it's not fully catch the crown, and but more importantly, if you look here, they are not crushed well. It's more like you get like the fibrous stuff. Yes, we want the fibrous stuff, but this is pretty wet, and you can see there it's not like crushed like individual fiber like that. Okay, we don't want like this, and this means the thing is still wet. I mean, it's still not dry well lah. So I believe later on, to improve the efficiency of drying, we need to cut it into half, or maybe we can just disintegrate into leaf, individual leaf lah, and then using that leaf and then we crush it. I think that's much better lah. At the beginning we say that you need to use this, what we call the entire crown, in order for it to easily crush under this crusher. But that's only work if this thing is fully dry, meaning that when you do like this, squeeze like this, it will snap. But these, they are not, even though it's after 48 hours drying at 65 degrees Celsius, still like this, because yeah, it's like, you see there, the heat have difficult time to go into the core. Okay, so previously we done this thing, but we make sure everything dry very thoroughly. Maybe we use high temperature or whatever, but or maybe long time we dry. So the end result that we want is something like this. So this is our sample from previous. So you can see it's dry quite well. Okay, so I believe that we crush it when it's fully dry lah. Compared to this, it look dry, but then it's not really. Okay, so this is our end result that we want. What to do with this, what we call crush sample that is wet here? It's okay, we can still dry it further in the oven, in the dryer, and then we can store it as normal inside the container, because it's the same thing. It just we plan to dry this crown leaf further by exposing, by cutting it into half, or I don't know, maybe we can break it open everything so that the heat can be goes into all the nook and cranny of this pineapple crown leaf, and make our life easier when crushing. Yes, you can crush now, but the problem is that it will take a long time to crush, and also you need to because it's wet, later on after crush you need to clean this thing thoroughly lah. Okay, so at the moment it's like this, which is why it's difficult for this machine to crush. It's still wet lah. If this is dry, then I think even though it's like fibrous like this, then it still can be crushed easily. Okay, because we have hard time to crush this sample due to the squishiness in the middle there, the heat cannot go inside, and even though after 2 days there are some moisture left trapped inside, what we do now is that we cut into half. So we cut into half here. Remember, this already dry for 2 days, but still you can feel in the middle there are some wetness. So we cut into half to expose the area, and also we also want to test the fresh one. Okay, so we want to see whether actually this is the same thing, but we just want to see how long it take for this to fully dry lah. So we start with a small sample first, and then if this is good, we can emulate this method to a big batch of pineapple crown leaf. So that's how you do lah. So we don't disintegrate this thing leaf by leaf because we want to process it easily. So we just take a knife, cut into middle, and then whatever happen here is just automatically the leaf there is automatically disintegrate by itself. It's not like we do one by one here, because the idea is that when you want to do pre-treatment, we need to do it fast. So because it defeats the purpose of pre-treatment if you need to what we call meticulously to take out one by one here. So the process must be simple but yet effective. So we test this first. Okay, the way you cut it is to cut in the middle of this part using the knife. So you just cut like this, and then you rip it open. This two half now, and this already exposed the inner part of the pineapple crown leaf. This thing you only do it when you want to dry. If let's say your dryer is fully occupied, you don't do this first because you don't want the fungus come and attack this thing. Okay, so we expose this only when we want to dry in the dryer, when the dryer is not occupied. So you just put it. So I can show you here. So this is the one that we already cut into half. Okay, so this is the one that we left uncut for some time because we don't want the what we call the fungus or microbes to attack this wet part if we cut early on. And this what happen if you left it too long without drying. This become like mushy like this. Okay, mushy like that. So that's why it's possible you need to sort of like process your sample as soon as possible lah, so that you can have some easy time to cut, and also it's quite fresh, and then you can dry easily lah. So this what happen if you left it too long, and I mean that the fungus goes inside and try to eat everything. It's already 12 hours since we put this test sample inside the dryer. So this one is the one that we dried before like this, but then we cut into half because we found this 2 days dried pineapple crown leaf in this form cannot be dried efficiently because you can see here the squishiness. We cut into half, and now after just 12 hours we can find here it's very hard. Okay, this thing you can feel it's very hard, which is good lah for what we call for crushing. Okay, this for sure can be crushed effectively. So this method work lah. But we also want to see what happen if we use the fresh one straight away and then cut into half, and whether it can dry or not. Okay, here there's still some squishiness which is expected because this is starting from the fresh one, and we only dry about 12 hours only. So I believe in 24 hours this will be hardened like this lah. So now we can say that for pineapple crown leaf, the effective way is that we cut the fresh one and we dry it like this. Okay, rather than we put it the whole as this. So we cut our pineapple crown leaf into half. We organize it into our dryer. We expose our inner part like this so that the hot air can seep through this small crevice. So we organize nicely so that we can stack a lot more of the sample within this small dryer, maximize the usage of the space. And once this dry, what will happen? It will turn into like this, and we store our dry sample prior to grinding into this the container, the airtight container. So as you can see here, the sound is like the crackers. So this is what we want, so that we can crush it efficiently. And more importantly here, you can feel that this is very hard. The inner part here is very hard. We also put here some of the silica pouch so that it can absorb moisture lah. So this, if you put it inside the airtight container like this, you can store this for a while before you can grind lah. We prefer to finish drying everything, put in this airtight container, and then only then we crush all together. Okay, it's already 24 hours since we put our fresh pineapple crown leaf inside this dryer, so let's check it. So you can feel that this thing is dry, but then you can still feel some squishiness there. Although this squishiness is not as pronounced as when we put the entire pineapple crown leaf inside this and left it for 2 days, the squishiness is much more pronounced lah. So here, when we cut into half, just for 1 day, when we start with the fresh one, they have some squishiness, but is less lah. So this is not hard for crushing. We prefer this thing become hard. So I think if we left this for another half day, it's become hard lah, or another just 1 day more, it will become ready for crushing. So let's dry it again. Okay, it's already 2 days since we put our half cut pineapple crown leaf inside this dryer. So you can see here it's very hard now. So this is suitable for our crushing later on. Everything is hard and snappy. Yeah, hard and snappy, which is good lah. So we can conclude now, in order to dry thoroughly our pineapple crown leaf, you need to cut into half and then put inside this dryer for about 2 days at 65 Celsius. We're done transferring all the dried pineapple crown leaf from this dryer to this basin. So as you can see, we got a full basin of the dried sample. So we can conclude that this our small dryer can accommodate maximum the full basin of sample. One more thing is this is another sample that is taken from the big dryer. This already been dried for about 3 days. Okay, this only 2 days from the original half cut fresh one. We cut into 2. We dry it 2 days inside this dryer and it's fully dry lah. It's hard here. But this is left in the big dryer, the fresh one, cut into half. It's already 3 days, but still you can see there are some squishiness there, meaning that there are some moisture within it. Compared to this, it's very hard. You can see you cannot really squeeze it. So meaning that our big dryer there doesn't have good drying capacity lah, meaning that it cannot dry this thoroughly. So you need to further dry it. So what we do is that we take this and then we dry in this small dryer for about maybe half day is enough, because it's already dry partially, and only then we can crush this. For this, we will go for crushing now. So now we want to crush this one basin full of dried pineapple crown leaf. It's good for you to bring the the glove, because this is quite sharp in the edge. So protect yourself using the glove. So we want to see how much we can get from this one basin of pineapple crown leaf. Okay, so that is the sound of the crushing for pineapple crown leaf. Okay, so at the bottom here you can see the flow rate. Okay, the flow rate is quite fast. This is what we want, meaning that this our dry pineapple crown leaf is suitable for this crusher. The blade can can catch on it, and this is the texture of the crushed sample. Okay. Okay, we're done with crushing. So this is the amount that we got. So this is 10 liter container. So we got about like 9 liter of shredded sample. So remember, we start with this basin full of dried pineapple crown leaf, and then we get this much of shredded sample. So you can see the texture. There are some long, some small. It's okay because this is what we want for our purpose. And if let's say your shredded sample have some hint of moisture, then you can just easily dry it in the oven for like 1 hour. It's more than enough. Make sure when you dry it, you dry it at low temperature, let's say 65 degree like that. Don't dry at higher than 80, because we don't want to burn this thing. We want it to undergo slow drying lah. So 65 degrees Celsius is okay for drying the the natural sample like this pineapple crown leaf, to mimic what we call the sun lah. So this is what we got. So it's time for storage.